Hey guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new, hi, my name is Haley. I'm a cashless budgeter and caregiver who's working on a relationship with finances as well as working towards financial freedom, and I'd like to welcome you guys to week 2 of Debtober. So for this week, I am going to wrap up my September budget, which I did not have time to do in September because I was preparing for Debtober, and it was a whole mess and I didn't get paid to the very end of September, so it kind of ran into other videos. So I'm going to go ahead and run through September full and part-time with you guys, and then mention some updates I have to make in my buffer bucks binder, which is part of my emergency fund, to buffer against things like bills and other activities that are part of my main budget. As expenses increase, I have to basically adjust my binder to reflect those. So we'll get to those after I finish going through this budget. Alright, so September full-time, last check I brought in $1,064.89. Alright, as far as my student loans, I kept it the same as I would budget, so, Direct Plus got its $200, and a Stafford loan received $350. Alright, and you guys have seen these numbers in my debt update in my week 1 video, so I don't need to break those down any further. As far as additional tithes, I like my lines to be a different color. Anyway, as far as additional tithes are concerned, $11 more got sent in for tithes. I didn't have any household bills that come out of my second check. Personal was a budgeted $60, which some of these numbers will be adjusted come my October budget with me, as I'm now realizing. Insurance, I budget $189. My car insurance rate did go down for the next couple months, so my actual spent was $181.57. I'm still going to keep this $189 though, just in case, and I just adjust it when I actually pay for my bill. As far as other, I did have a credit card expense of $33. Wow, I can't talk. Of $33 that I used from my check to pay off. Alright, and as far as variable spending, the $25 that was supposed to go to my future home fund went as budgeted. Account buffer, I used $37 from this check, actually, to go into my account buffer, and I will explain why I did that in a different video, or you guys might see it in my first week of October's budget. There's a project I'm working on. I'm going to try it out for the month of October, and if I like it, I will formally bring it to you guys as a challenge in November. So again, that's up in the air, but working on that. As far as emergency fund is concerned, it got $20 budgeted. Oop, my pen is getting a little bit thin. Alright. Roth IRA and future funds. Future funds is my regular brokerage account. Both received, it's budgeted $25. Travel received $15 as budgeted. As far as restuffing, I did not restuff any savings envelopes from this check, and this check kind of led me into Debtober to where I'm not going to be restuffing my savings outside of these variable savings that are automatically coming out of my account. Alright, and intentional spending, got the remainder of this check, which was $132.32. And again, I will probably come back in another video to explain these two numbers and why they were the way they were, as part of another project. If not in October, then in November, when I actually formally want to start the challenge. Alright, and as far as part-time is concerned, part-time check Her second check of September was $571.27. Of that, $500 went straight to my Stafford One loan. $57 went to tithes, which is 10% of whatever I did. My Roth 401k, that contribution gets taken out before the check hits my account. That was $44.94. Again, nothing went to restuffing, and the remaining $14.27 I left in my account buffer. Alright, so that was all for September, and now I'm going to grab my Buffer Bucks binder very quickly so we can go over what the heck is changing. So you guys don't know, this is my Buffer Bucks binder. Oh, my sticker's peeling. Anyway, this is what I use to save for bills, or at least a month's worth of my essential bills and or core bills that you guys see in my budget. I don't know if I'm going to go beyond a month in this or just keep it and keep readjusting it as time goes along, as I do have my emergency fund in general that I want to kind of use as the income replacement savings. So for right now, I'm just focusing on using a savings snowball. If you guys don't know what a savings snowball is, it's basically across my envelopes. I have one envelope that may get $3, for example, and the rest of them get $2 until I fully fund that envelope, and that $3 gets rolled over to the next one, which will get $5, and everybody else gets $2, and it keeps going basically like a snowball until I fully fund all my envelopes. In this case, since the numbers will be different from when I started, mostly because expenses change, as we're about to see, I decided to just have a set $3 go to all of my envelopes except for one, which I'm using as a miscellaneous / buffer envelope, and that gets $2. And I'm just going to keep them going until I've quote unquote fully funded them, or if the amounts in them change or I need to add some or take some away, which I most likely won't take anyway. So if I need to add some as an expense gets bigger, then I can just keep using the same set numbers and not have to readjust my envelopes or change the order of them based on increasing value and whatnot. So I hope all that made sense. Anyway, let me see if you guys can see this. And you can. Alrighty, cool. So, Buffer Bucks binder, what I've done is I have this little cheat sheet on the inside cover, which I basically use to keep track of the totals I want to keep in this binder. Now, as you guys may know, and if you hear that pattering, we have a bunch of squirrels that somehow got into our roof area. So you're probably going to hear them throughout this video. Regardless, I consider the bills in here my monthly mandatories. These are generally non-negotiable and have been staples in my budget. But these staples have also increased in cost recently. So to keep track of these adjustments, I'm going to add, let's see, around E. You know what? I think I'm just going to increase them in increments. For full disclosure purposes, grocery, or what I put towards groceries every month, went up by $20. Usually that's because of the holidays, but I decided to just keep it as an increase in my budget. So that'll be there. My personal spending went up at least by rounding, I'll say $70. That's because I am preemptively saving for increase in gym costs as far as coaching and personal training is concerned. I have not signed up for it yet. It's one of those, I'll get to it eventually when I want to sign up, but I already know it's going to be an increase in cost. So I kind of want to go ahead and buffer for it now. And then, excuse me, got hiccups. And then our internet bill had increased. So the share that I pay has also increased. So I adjusted for that as well. And that's honestly the bulk of the $7. Anyway, and then electric, what I pay in a portion of electric and gas went up by $50. But you guys have already seen that reflected in my budget. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and erase the total because the total will be incorrect. here. Let's see, grocery. Even though I only added $20 to it, I'm going to go ahead and incrementally bump it up to $200, which will add some buffer room as well. And all these numbers are not exact or 100% what I do pay. All of them to some degree include some type of buffer amount to account for these fluctuations I'm actually accounting for now. I just wanted them to be accounted for at a greater degree because, again, if I need to readjust them even higher, I won't have to keep coming in here and changing these numbers if I already gave myself enough wiggle room to like adjust it for $10, $15. The only reason I'm upping these amounts in particular is because their increase was over $20. So I am working them up from there. Electric, again, that went up $50. So I believe, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and up that to $200 as well. Again, buffer room, because I know, especially when wintertime hits, we are closer to the water on the East Coast, and the suspension of water in the air does make it a little bit more humid of a winter, but it also keeps us fairly cold. So that's a whole other story, whole other mess. And then personal, since again I'm accounting for that $70 increase, I'm just going to go ahead and up it to $170. Personal is one of those ones I don't feel the need to add that much buffer room for, because most of the personal spending I'm thinking of, or personal line items I have in my budget are optional. The training is optional. I don't necessarily need it. I know I want to have it, but again, if I need to cut it out of my budget, so be it. It won't really bother me that much. So I'm going to go ahead and redo this math very quickly. And then, wow, okay, that's actually, ironically, $2,020 or $2020 that I have to save. 2020 is definitely a hard number as far as years are concerned. If you know, you know. Right, a little bit neater. Yeah, so new goal now is $2,020 for my buffer, which is fine, as I wanted to save months worth of my income anyway in my other emergency fund binder, and I estimate that to be around $2,500. So having this as a primary buffer is pretty close to that. Again, whether or not I'm going to save these more than once, I do not know, but it's just a snowballing work in progress, and I'm not going to try to rush it by any means right now, and just keep the snowball going. I may or may not increase the snowball next year. I have not fully decided that yet, but I just wanted to update you guys on this just in case you guys notice any changes and notice that my snowball is taking a little bit longer than I intended. But alright, that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you made it this far in the video and would like to participate in the Debtober month-long giveaway, the word for, or the keyword for this video is pumpkin. You can use pumpkin in any way, shape, or form in your comment, as long as you spell out the entire word as you see it here in the video, then it counts as an entry in the giveaway. And remember, you can enter multiple times, but you can only win once depending on the drawing. Alright, rules for the giveaway, or additional rules for the giveaway, will also be in the description of this video. Alrighty, I hope you guys have a blessed day, night, evening, wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you guys next week for Debtober Week 3. Bye guys.